Hello, and welcome to this episode of Algebra Help with Mrs. Zenos. I received 4 problems from one of my students, so this video is for them. I'm going to go through each problem. They are actually from quizzes in Unit 2, so follow along with me. Number 1. So first things first, these are all word problems, and most of them are asking us to write an equation, and some of them are asking us to also solve it. And we need to be familiar with certain words. So in this problem, it says the sum of 3 consecutive even integers is 126. So I'm going to start here with this sentence. The sum means to add. 3 consecutive. Consecutive means one after the other, in order, like 1, 2, 3, 4. But this even integers. So even integers would be like 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, they're consecutive because they go least to greatest in order, and they're even because they're all divisible by 2. They all can be divided by 2 evenly. And it says the sum of the integers is 126. So if we add up all of our integers together, we get 126. So the first integer plus the second integer plus the third integer is all going to add up to 126. It's a starting point. Just from this first sentence, I can get a kind of a pseudo equation going. If we continue, it says let x represent the first integer. So in our pseudo equation here, we can actually start building off of it using this sentence right here. The first integer is represented by x. The second integer is represented by x plus 2. So we can put x plus 2 right here. And x plus 4 represent the third integer. So taking all 3 of those expressions and slapping them into our equation, we end up with this equation right here. The first integer, the second integer, and the third integer. All of that pulled directly from the problem. Which equation could be used to find the first integer? So this is all a part of my identify phase. Okay, identify phase. Basically, it said right here that x equals the first integer. In my problem, it said that. So right here, when it says which equation can be used to find the first integer, it's just asking for x. It's just asking for the x, first integer. So we're going to take this bad boy that we wrote, x plus 2 plus x plus 4 equals 126. Now, it is important to note that this equation is actually not, comparing it to each answer, it doesn't look like it's in our answer choices. But if we remember that we need to simplify with equations before we can solve them, we can actually combine our like terms. We have 3 x's. And 2 plus 4 is 6. Now, if we look at our answer choices, we can find it right here. It is answer D. I didn't even have to solve it. I just needed to figure out what the equation would be. All right, moving on to the next one. So this problem talks about a rectangle, and as soon as I see a shape referenced in the problem, I'm going to draw the shape. This is just best practice. So something that you can label and kind of guide your thinking on it. So in my identify phase, I have a rectangle. Draw a rectangle with a length of 8.3 centimeters. So typically length is our longest side. So that we could call this side 8.3. And then it gives us the perimeter. So we're talking about the perimeter of a rectangle, and there is a formula for that. The perimeter for a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. It's also can be written as perimeter equals 2 times the length plus the width. Either one of those equations will give you the same answer. And it told us that the perimeter is 22.4 centimeters. So I'll use the one without the parentheses here. So essentially, I can remove P in the formula and replace it with a 22.4, since 22.4 is the perimeter. I no longer need P in my equation. It says, enter the width of the rectangle in decimal form in the box. The width, we need the width. So going back to my problem, my equation, I need to find this guy right here. But I have L, I need L. Well, thankfully, the problem told me L. L is 8.3. So now I can write this equation, 22.4 equals 2 times our length, 8.3, plus 2W. And now I have an equation, that I can actually solve because it only has one variable in it. So we're going to multiply 2 times 8.3, and that will give me 16.6 plus 2W. Bring down my 22.4. Subtract 16.6 from both sides, trying to isolate the W. And I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator for 22.4. 22.4 minus 16.6 gives me 5.8. 5.8 equals 2W. And then divide by 2. 5.8 divided by 2. 2.9. So 2.9 equals W. Going back, correct answer, 2.9. So we had to use the perimeter formula and then plug in the information the problem gave us, and then we had an equation that we could solve. Moving on to number 3. I'll come back to this one because they got it right, but maybe they just wanted to see why it was right. I'm not sure. But this one right here. Train, the classic math problem that's about 2 trains leaving a station, blah, blah, blah. So again, I highly suggest draw a diagram to help visualize what's happening. So we have train A and train B leave Central Station at the same time. They travel at the same speed, but in opposite directions. With train A heading towards station A, so I'm going to use pink since I'm using pink for train A. With train A heading towards station A, and train B heading towards station B. This is when it gets really useful. Train A reaches station A after 3 hours. Train B reaches station B after 2¼ hours. Then it says that station A and station B are 421 miles apart. So let's draw this picture. So it says that they both leave Central Station at the same time. So I'm going to draw a little box to represent Central Station. And then I have train A in pink, train A, and train B. And they leave here at the same time going in opposite directions. So I'm going to draw an arrow. Train A is going that way, which means that train A has to go this way. They're going in opposite directions. All right, and then train A is going to station A, and train B is going to station B. So this is a visual what's happening. They're leaving this at the same time. And I go back up here. Okay, so same time, Central Station, same speed. So the speed here, we don't know it, but we know that it's the same. So the speed of train A, speed of A, is equal to the speed of B. Okay, so then we have the time. It takes train A 3 hours. It takes train A 3 hours, and it takes train B 2¼ hours. And I'm just going to change that 2¼ I'm just going to change that to a decimal, 2.25. Just do 1 divided by 4. And then in the very last sentence, it says that the stations are 240 miles apart. Sorry, 420 miles apart. So I can see from this the total time it took for the trains could be added together. They're going the same speed. So that's not a factor. So if one's going 25 miles per hour, the other one's going 24 miles. They're going the same speed. So what I can do is, since speed is distance over time, I have a total of 420 miles and a total of 3 plus 2.25, so 5.25 hours. So I have the total distance, and I can easily find the total time. So 420 divided by 5.25. 420 divided by 5.25 is 80. So the speed ends up being 80 miles per hour. Each train was going 80 miles per hour, and that was the answer. So ultimately, all I had to do was add together their times and divide by that total distance. So I hope this video was helpful. And again, I'm not exactly sure why I received this one, but we can break it down. Allison has $1.60 worth of nickels and dimes. Combined, those dimes and nickels add up to 160. She has 11 more nickels than dimes. How many of each coin does she have? So we have expressions we can write here. $1.60 worth of nickels. Well, we know a nickel is 5 cents, so we can write that as 0.05, and a dime is worth 10 cents, so we can write that as 0.10 D. So right now I'm using N for nickels and D for dimes. And that total, that money added together is $1.60. Moving forward, she has 11 more nickels than dimes. So dimes nickels is going to be the number of dimes plus 11. She has more nickels than dimes, more nickels. So nickels equals dimes plus 11. If you took the number of dimes, added 11, that would tell her the nickels. So this ends up being N equals D plus 11. So now I have two equations. The total value of the nickels, and then it's an equation to help us represent nickels. So we'll do a substitution here. D plus 11. Substitute for nickels. So we get 0.5 times D plus 11 plus 0.10 D equals 160, $1.60. Distribute 0.05 D plus 0.05 times 11, 0.55. Plus our 0.10 D equals 160. combine like terms. 0.05D plus, so that would be 0.15D. And then I can start solving. I just simplified, I distributed, combined like terms. Now I can start solving. 160 minus 0.55 would be 1.05. So 0.15D, we see to divide. 105 divided by 0.15. 7. So D equals 7. So if we go back up here, we said that D equals dimes. So this 7, this means that she has 7 dimes because D equals 7. And then find the nickels, we use this equation from earlier. Nickels equals dimes plus 7. So we take the number of dimes, add 11. The number of nickels is 18, which matches the solutions indicated by our quiz here. I hope this video was helpful. Feel free to leave any comments or ask questions. I'll be happy to reply.